Okay, let's go. Let's do it again. So we're going to wait to see if we go live here. There we go. All right, we should be live over on Instagram here shortly, and then we'll really get things going. Pop on in here. To anybody who may have been on the stream earlier and saw me cut out, everything is totally fine. It was fine before. I was just late to a call that I needed to attend, and I was very happy to attend. Louise, hi, I'm glad to see you. Welcome. Spider Mid, welcome. Glad to see you, buddy. Let's go. Hey, Miriam. Glad to see you, man. Everybody's popping in. 2 in 1 day. Well, it's kind of like 1 in 1 day because the other one got cut off so quickly. So we're back. Hi from India. Oh, thank you. Well, shout out to India from Texas over here. But I learned from you carbs are okay and good for energy. Well, in fact, carbs are what gives you energy entirely. And when you're on a keto or a carnivore diet, your body is trying to break down protein into glucose to power your brain and your muscles because that is the only thing that your brain and your muscles run on. Your body does not run on fat, does not run on protein. It runs on glucose, which is derived from carbs. That's the way that it comes. So your body can do a quick and dirty version of breaking it down for protein, but it doesn't prefer to do so. And it's not a terribly clean process. So slips back in the back of class and sits down. No, you sit right in the front of class. You deserve to be here. And Elizabeth in progress. What's going on? I'm so glad to see you. Hey, Mike, listening to you on the road, heading to the Oregon coast. Where you go? How far of a drive is that for you? Is that quite a bit of distance, or I'm not sure where you are, which is odd because you're a main character in our Discord group. Which, by the way, if you guys are not in the Discord, you should be. I would love to have you there. And King Edwards. Yes, we are so back. Big Pharma did talk to me. They knocked on my door, but I said, get out of here, Big Pharma. We don't need you anymore. 1 meal a day trend is making my job as a coach so much harder. Actually, it's making mine quite a bit easier because I get to talk people out of it. You know, we get to save them. As a coach, one of the greatest things that I get to do and one of the greatest things that you'll get to do is to tell people all the stuff they don't have to do anymore. And when you tell somebody, hey, by the way, you're allowed to have carbs, you're allowed to eat more than 1 meal a day, you're allowed to have dessert, and it's fine and nothing bad is going to happen to you for it, you'll be none the worse for having it. It's sometimes one of the greatest things you can do for somebody on this journey. Bro, I love your work. Been obese my entire life and just only recently lost some weight. You are a gem and you inspire us. Well, you inspire me. Thank you for being here. And speaking of people that inspire me, my friend Sarah's here. Sarah, I'm so glad that you're here. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. And oh, you're only here for a minute. Never mind, you're not welcome. Get out of here. I'm glad you were here, even if it was just a brief moment. You might be able to come back. I'll be on here maybe for an hour. I always say an hour, but I'm really going to keep it to an hour. That's for sure. You're not sitting in the front row. It's like church. Hey, you got the same salvation no matter where you sit, which is none. No salvation. You don't get extra points just for showing up. You get extra points for doing the work. That's what really counts. And I'll tell you a quick story about religion if anyone wants to hear it. I remember as a child going to a local church, and my family did things the proper way, but it seemed like everybody else was there just to kind of like show up. No one talked to each other. Everyone was kind of like in their own groups, and I was under the assumption that you showed up and it was like a community thing. You would talk to people, you would share stories and feel very welcome, but it felt very closed and not like that at all. So I had become, oddly enough, not disillusioned with the church as I was disillusioned with the people. But that's a different story altogether. That all being said, this ties into the fact that if you're not doing the work, if you're just consuming weight loss content, if you're here listening to me but not implementing changes, nothing's happening. And this is perhaps the most firm I'll get with anybody. You guys know that I'm not firm unless somebody is being mean or anything. And this is more so me just saying like, hey, I know you guys can do better. I know that you guys, not only can you do better, but you deserve better. So you may as well go ahead and it doesn't have to be everything. In fact, I advise against making major changes all the time. I don't make major changes in my life. So if you want to live more like me, don't make major changes. Implement very small changes over long periods of time, and then you will have large amounts of progress over long periods of time, and you'll barely feel like it's work. That's the secret to this whole thing. Congratulations on the weight loss. Oh, somebody said that they lost weight. I didn't get to see who it was. But Miriam says, worst advice that I cannot overcome. Less calories plus more cardio equals sought after small cutie patootie everyone wants. Yeah, it's ultimately speaking, yes, it is eat less, move more. But we're also not just biological systems of calories in, calories out. We are human beings with hearts and minds and souls and taste buds and enjoyment, you know? Like it's not all about that kind of thing. Names are hard. Sorry, I just got to read a text really quick. All right. Anyhow, save time, be disillusioned with both people and religion. Well, I'm not necessarily disillusioned with people. It's just more so disillusioned with their intentions. I know there are a lot of good people out there and good people that are involved in the church, but just because you are in the church or involve yourself with the church does not make you a good person. And we see that especially in our politicians who do not live by the doctrine that they claim to live by. Hidden calories involved in cooking dishes is the biggest challenge we face here in India because it's so dynamic and diverse here. Yeah, it's difficult when somebody else is making your food. It's harder to nail down exactly what's in everything. But your best guess is good enough. That's all you need to do. CC Weil, I'm so happy that you're back. Yes, everything's fine. I had a call that I thought was a half hour later than it was, and then I looked down at my phone and saw the notification. I was like, oh shoot, I gotta get out of here. So everything's fine. I had to go real quick because I was excited. It was one of my one-on-one clients, the people that I work with very closely. So I'm always thrilled to get to talk to those people. It's a very small group of people. I'm selective with who I take on, and well, I know one of you is here. I'm not going to call out who you are, just in case you don't want me to. But I turn down many people as well, and not because they're bad people or anything, but for a variety of reasons. They just might not be necessarily ready, or I feel like, hey, this isn't going to be the right fit, or hey, it might be a financial thing. Like if you give me money right now, I don't know if you're going to have enough money to be comfortable enough to be involved in this process as much as you need to be. Benjamin says, hey, Mike, I found out the other day that I'm getting laid off soon, but on the bright side, I'm 2 months binge-free. That's fantastic. That's really good. Especially when things are getting stressful, when you get news like that and you see that everything is fine, like ultimately in the rest of your life, like it's proof positive that the changes that you're making are really setting in your mind. By the way, the Twitch, my friend Cece Wild says that you are says incredible, which is too much. Who else here can say that they've not had a binge for 2 months? It took me a long time to be able to say that I hadn't had a binge for 2 months. Now at this point, I don't know when my last binge was. I have no idea at all, which is crazy because there was a period of time where I couldn't have gone a couple of days without it. Quincy, son of Quincy, bro, needs to run for president. I don't know. I'm not old enough. I think I need to be 80 before people will vote for me on either side. I struggle with eating good for a week and then just binge for a week, on and off. Any advice? Well, first off, you are in the right place, so thank you. Secondly, there's another place you need to be, which is in the Discord if you're not there yet. So I would love for you to be in the Discord. Immerse yourself with people who are achieving and doing the things that you would like to achieve and do, and the Discord is full of those people. It is free to everybody. There's 2,200 members in there. We're growing every day, and we would love to have you. That all being said, you struggle with eating good for a week and then just binge for a week on/off. Any advice? I'm going to read this very literally from the perspective of other people that I've either worked with or heard stories from and myself. And that is, when you say that you're eating good, Are you eating in a way that feels restrictive, where you're kind of white-knuckling it the whole week and thinking, I better do it, I better be good this week, I better cut out all the things that make me feel good or the things that taste good, and I've got to cut out cheese from my diet and bread from my diet and everything, and you're basically just eating rabbit food? Is that what you mean by eating good? Because if that's the case, then of course you're binging afterward. Because you've now put food into two very clean categories, and that is the good and the bad. And while you're sitting on the good side, you're going to always be thinking about what's over here on the bad, all the tempting stuff that might pull you back over to the bad side. And then once you're over there, you're like, well, screw it. I've already ruined all my progress anyway, so I may as well enjoy it. And then you're going to overconsume to make up for all the stuff that you didn't have. It's like trying to hold your breath to pass out. It's not going to work. Eventually, you're going to be gasping for breath. And similarly, with food, you'll be gasping for Doritos. It's not a great way to go about it. But I understand where the mentality comes from. I understand why somebody would be driven to do something like that, because if you see food as the enemy, if you're still under the assumption that food is the enemy, it makes sense to cut it out. It makes sense to say, well, if I get rid of this specific thing, then everything will be fine. Do I work with vegetarians/vegans? I work with anybody, so long as you don't have an active eating disorder and you've been doing this for a while. I will work with people for the most part. I have taken on a couple of newbies where I feel like their mentality's in the right place, but I don't take on a lot of like day one people. Because one, I just don't feel like I'm terribly equipped, and two, I don't feel like spending 4 weeks trying to convince people that carbs are fine. I am going to be teaching a basics class here in September or October to a group. So if you're interested in the basics, if you're like starting day one, that'll be available to you, and it might be a better fit than my one-on-one coaching. That all being said, yeah, I am not personally a vegan, but my one-on-one coaching isn't really all that much about specific nutrition. We will work on protein and fiber and calories and stuff like that, but it really can fit into any diet. So if that's something you're interested in, my application, I do have a spot for one more person for the season. So if you're interested in popping in there, I would advise you to check in there quickly because that's going to fill up probably by the end of the week. Rick Wade officially down 130 pounds. Geez, you had to overdo me by 20. Congratulations. Everyone give a shout out to Rick Wade for doing that, because that's incredible. Good for you. I don't know if this is a hot take or if I'm in the quiet minority, but I neither follow religion nor decry it. I feel it's disrespectful for me to question others' beliefs as long as they're not harmful to themselves or others. I will say this about religion, and then we'll move on. I live the way that I hope whatever entity created everything here lives. You know, and that is that I try to spread kindness, and I try to spread understanding and grow and change and be empathetic to the people around me. And if said being does not adhere to those standards, accepting everyone as they are and loving people as they are, I do not want to be welcomed by that being. So, you know, if it is a hateful God, I will sooner go to hell than confer with it. On a serious note, I've been doing one meal a day, mostly out of fear for an upcoming trip, severe body dysmorphia. I'm afraid I won't fit in the airplane seat. I'm afraid I won't fit in the theater seats I purchased for a Broadway play. I wish stress burned calories. Man, if stress burned calories, I think we would all be in a pretty good position. That all being said, are you going on this vacation, or is your body going on this vacation? That's for you. I've been doing one meal a day out of fear for an upcoming trip. I'll say this, they make seats pretty big now, in general. You know, I don't see that being too much of an issue unless it's been an issue for a while. Is it something that has been an issue, or something that you're just projecting into the future, saying this might be an issue going on? You haven't binged in about 3 years. Oh, well, you've beaten my record then, that's for sure. Because I know for certain that I had binges last year. I don't think I've had one this year. But definitely early last year I had one. My goodness, Cece, wow, congratulations to you. That's incredible. Hi, Mike, love your content on IG. Well, Mary, thank you for being here. I love that. I love you. I love finding different ways to get fiber in my diet. That's the real hack. We always talk about protein. We're always talking about getting our protein in. to increase our satiety and not want to binge and everything. But the real hack is fiber. We can overdo it on protein. We really can, and a lot of people, especially listening to a lot of the influencers, we do overdo it on protein. We don't need as much protein as people say that we do. Most of you are going to be fine around 100 grams, 120 grams, 150 at the very most. For the most part, like, you don't need that much more. It's not terribly necessary, and your kidneys aren't going to be super happy with it either. And if you're just eating more protein to be more full, I would guarantee that almost all of you, I think statistically like 90-something% of you, are not getting enough fiber. We need fiber. That's why the rates of colorectal cancer are shooting up in the United States, at least. I don't know about the rest of the world, but they've removed all of the fiber from all of our snacks and all of our food, because when there's no fiber in things, we eat more. I'm struggling with motivation to work out. I have PMDD, among other things, so I'm not quite myself for half the month. Well, just speaking in terms of anyone who's got a uterus and a menstrual cycle, that tends to be the case. No matter what, even if you're completely healthy, even if there's nothing diagnosed, there's going to be at least 7 to 10 days out of the month where you just don't have the same kind of energy as maybe a man would steadily through the month. And I would suggest that in those periods of time, you go a little bit easier on yourself. If you are forcing yourself to try to work out through those hard times as hard as you can when you're in a different phase of your cycle, you're going to get discouraged very quickly, because you're going to feel that weakness and you're going to be like, well, shit, I'm useless for half the month. You're not useless. You just need to meet your body where it is. Don't force it to do something that it's not necessarily apt to do in that moment. See if that helps you at all. If this is your what's it called? If this is your permission to just go a little bit easier on yourself, to go a little bit slower, you can. I live with a heart condition, so there are days where I would love to work out and I can't. My heart's just like, not working today, and I can't do it. So I have to I have to build my progress very slowly. If stress burned calories, I'd look like Scotty. Do you come from the Scotty camp? Or were you from one of the Scotty raids? Because possibly this Friday, if we can make it work, yeah, you're going to see some Mike and Scotty content. He's coming into town, so we're going to hang out. And I'm very excited to get to see him, because, man, I'm so proud of that guy. I'm super, super proud of that guy. Miriam says, what workout advice would you give someone who has the knowledge of fitness and nutrition and trained religiously for years but is now newly single after a toxic 3-year relationship and gained 60 pounds? First off, congratulations. I'm so glad you got out of that. I know when we talked a while ago, you were still in the depths of that relationship, and I was just thinking about you the other day, because I was recalling some of the the calls that I had toward the beginning. And I remember that you were sort of in a situation that was not terribly great, and you weren't super happy there. So first off, you already got rid of 150 plus pounds there with that sack of shit. So congratulations to you. Very happy that you're out of there. I know what it's like to be in that situation and to get out of a similar situation. It's not very fun. It weighs heavy on the mind. I would recommend that you don't do it with the toxic ex in mind. Don't try to get the the revenge body or anything, or, I got to stay fit because if I get fat, then I lose, all that kind of thing. Like, you do that sort of thing, and you put yourself on a clock, the time that you're willing to do that ends up ticking away. But this also brings up a very good point, and that is that you can have all of the knowledge. You can have all the know-how, hell, you can even have the proof that you can do it and that it works, and it doesn't matter. Which proves two things. One, you can keep learning and get all the proper information and the correct information and the perfect information and still do absolutely nothing with it. And number two, this goes way deeper than the knowledge. It goes way deeper than the knowledge. It's so much about the mindset, which is, other people handle the knowledge and they do it much better than I ever could. I deal with the mind, and I have cultivated an audience based on the mindset, because that's the part that no one's talking about that really needs to be addressed. I posted a sort of semi-controversial post on Instagram. I will read it out loud. to those of you who are interested in hearing, it was, I mean, not controversial to normal people, but to the toxic gym bro culture, they're going to be sort of upset with this one. I say here, fact, the gym is not a suitable replacement for therapy. If you only improve your body and don't improve your mind, you're not actually healthy. Building muscle at the expense of your mental health is not admirable at all. As a former demon fighter myself, no, you're not going to convince me otherwise. You can do a lot of work on your body and do absolutely no work on your mind and be none the better by the time you get there. You can have the perfect body, you can lose all the weight, and if you don't work on this, it doesn't fucking matter at all. It's all about being kind to yourself. That's the whole thing. I don't sell much of anything. Like, I have my one-on-one coaching. I hardly ever advertise it. I really never say anything about it. People find their way to me. I've not put my application up since February. So, like, this isn't a thing where I'm trying to sell you into the mindset of being kind to yourself. It's just literally that fucking important. What else am I going to talk about other than the major thing that made me successful? Not just in my personal life, but in my professional life and in my health life and everything. When I'm difficult on myself, when I'm hard on myself and I'm talking myself down, it does not help. If being hard on myself was going to work, it would have worked already. But it never did. Why am I... The first thing I'm saying right now is pointy nipples. Using my pointy nipples as a telescopic antenna to transmit data back onto Earth. I have no idea what that's in regards to, but I love it. I love this question. I want to build muscle. How can I do that if I'm resting so much? We build muscle at rest, not in motion. If you are working out 7 days a week, you're not building muscle as optimally as someone working out 4 days a week. 3 to 4 days a week, about an hour, is realistically all you need to build like as much muscle as you are genetically and naturally able to build. Seriously. You don't need to be working out incredible amounts. How many months does the one-on-one coaching last? I start with 10 weeks because I don't like when people tell me they've been in therapy for 5 years. I'm like, well, what are you learning something there? Or I feel like therapy should be revisited like checkups at the doctor. You know, it should be every once in a while you just quick check to figure out if everything's good. So we start with 10 weeks, and then if you want more, we can do more. Some people I'll say, no, you're good. And some people, they want to keep going, and we keep going. But I keep a very tight group of people, and I don't open it up very often. So I think by the end of the week, that spot's going to be closed. You can find that link in my my bio if you're interested in looking into it. The price is there. Everything's there. So you can get that information all there. I hide nothing. I really like that message. Well, Bailey, I really like you. And you've taken on to that message very well. You are, in fact, when I was talking about, like, you know, people who, because you didn't have much of any experience at all when you got to me. Most of the people that I take on have been doing this for years and years and years, and those are the people that I work with best. But you were like sort of a day one, and you're the only day one I've ever taken. Because you were just so untainted by the diet culture that I'm like, I'm not going to have to convince you that things are actually fine, or, you know, like you don't have to fear certain things. And of course, I've never made a bad call with somebody I've taken. And you're fantastic, not just as somebody to work with, but as a friend. And I'm just so grateful that I get to take this journey along with you. So thank you for being around, and thank you for being a friend. It looks like Smitty's helping people in the comments. By the way, if you're looking to get help from a bunch of people who lost 100+ pounds and are building muscle and doing fantastic and feeling great, feeling nice, everything, come to the Discord. There are people with all levels of knowledge, all amounts of time doing this, who would love to come and help you. As a former Ziz Gym bro, oh geez, that's a name I haven't seen in a long time. You end up really learning the hard way that you won't ever be happy no matter how much muscle you build. Yeah, and this is somebody who, unfortunately, you know, passed away from steroid usage, which tends to be the way that steroid users go. They don't die of old age. You know, you don't get a lot of like old age bodybuilders. They're young, they're super buff for a brief period of time, and then they're out of here. Where's the Discord? You can get the from Twitch. I don't know how you can get it. If you are you following me on Instagram? Because if you follow me on Instagram, you can get that link directly in my bio. It's going to be right there on the top. It's the first link. I've made it so that it's very easy for people to find. So, letter 20. Oh, I saw you in the comments section of that Hugh Jackman post the other day where a bunch of steroid guys were like, no, this is a completely achievable physique. Like, this is totally normal for people. And we're like, no, you just don't know what steroid usage looks like when you see it. Let's see. Can a person whose thyroid function is abnormal be put on a calorie deficit? This is something that I would definitely speak with your doctor about. In terms of intermittent fasting, in my unprofessional opinion, again, speak to your doctor, I wouldn't do it. How do you combat medication that can cause weight gain? Is there anything you can do? Once again, definitely speak to your doctor. If it's like a medical thing where your medication has caused weight gain, there's something that you could talk to your doctor about. They might be able to either adjust your medication or switch your medication. But again, don't take your medical information from the internet. Bad idea. Let's switch it up here. Let's go over to the Twitch where all the cool people are. Yes, rest is needed for muscle recovery. It's not only needed, it is non-negotiable for recovery. If you're working out 7 days a week, you're not gonna make muscle the best way you can. Hey, Mike, how do you assess where you stand in terms of overall mental health? From my perspective, I guess I'm fine, but there's better questions I should be asking. What's your basic guide to introspection? Well, first of all, you're asking the right questions here, which is, am I fixed yet? There are some people who won't ask themselves that, or they feel like they are fixed. And anybody who's heard my podcast, which is available on Apple and Spotify, all the outlets, I start every episode by saying, welcome to Mike Needs a Plan, the show that I've named for the fact that even after losing 110 pounds, I still have no idea what I'm doing. And for a half hour every Wednesday, we meet up and we just look each other in the eyes and we say, we don't know what we're doing. We just admit we don't know what we're doing so that we can open ourselves up to the possibility that, hey, maybe there's information that we could know. And then we expand our knowledge. We don't have to come up with advice. We don't have to come up with answers, but we can at least ask some questions. One of the greatest things you can do is just ask questions. You can implore. The other thing that you can do is recognize that there's no, I won. There's no upper limit where it's like, I've achieved mental health. It's not like I want to lose 100 pounds, so I'm going to do that. It's so much more nuanced than that. You just keep growing and you keep expanding and keep becoming a better person every day. There's no upper limit. So that can be a little bit scary, but at the same time, it's also like one of the greatest feelings ever, because it's like, oh, cool, I don't ever have to stop growing. I can just keep becoming better every day. What a fantastic opportunity that I get to have. And annihilating the same muscles with no break will cause no more harm than good. Yes, absolutely. Yes, okay, I'll look at that. Oh, cool. Okay, Mike Needs a Plan on Instagram. It's odd that I've got people on Twitch that aren't on Instagram. It used to be that I was bringing people from Instagram over to Twitch, and now it's the other way around, which is very cool. Also moving out soon, finally getting out of here. Paley, text me with that information. I would love to hear about it. My friend Adam's here. Adam, what's going on, buddy? Bless you, but I'm so glad you're here, and I hope you're having a fantastic night, because you absolutely deserve it. That is one hard-working man right now. Everybody, say hi to my friend Adam, because what a positive presence he was in my life when I desperately needed a positive presence. More than I let on at the time, and more than he knew. So I'm grateful to that guy for being kind to me while I was learning to be kind to myself. CC Wild, am I fixed yet? Honestly, no, but I'm getting there. Am I still going to try getting there? I got a little guy to take care of. He deserves a mom who takes care of herself, because that's a mom that takes care of him the best I can. That's so good. That's what I'm talking about right there. It's like when it's usually people pleasers and people who are very unkind to themselves, who are taking care of other people in the way that they deserve to be taken care of the very most. And it's always refreshing when I start to see those people like, oh wait, I should also be a person that I'm taking care of too. Like, my care should extend to me. Why should it not extend to the person who's taking care of everybody? Why should it not extend to Adam, who took care of everybody on his team tirelessly and constantly went to bat for us and made us feel protected and worthwhile? Bing chillin'. I say Bing chillin' all the time now in my regular life because of you. Bing chillin', Bing chillin'. You're studying for your state exam. What are you? What's the state exam for? That's awesome. Fantastic. Do we have our first native Twitch user? I think we might. So Scotty K Fitness, if you guys are not familiar with Scotty K Fitness, my good buddy Scotty K Fitness, who he just hit 1 million followers. He just popped onto the scene in like early July. And in a month, he had 1 million followers. That is a rise in the likes of which I've never seen before, ever. I've been here about a year now. It's I've had incredible luck doing what I'm doing, but like he's got 1 million followers and no haters at all, and I couldn't be more proud of him. I'm gonna get to hang out with him here at the end of the week, and we're gonna make some videos together. So if there's anything that you want us to do together, let me know. I'll pass along the message to Scotty. He just called me the other day with. So I'd kind of been holding back the secret that he was about to quit his job because we'd finally convinced him, like, bro, just pursue this full time. Pursue this thing full time. Well, I've had a fraction of the opportunity that he has, and I've been able to sustain myself. I'm not making crazy money or anything. I'm making about the amount of money I was at my old job, plus a tiny bit more. Which was not much. So like for him to have the kind of opportunity he had, I'm like, bro, you're going to be fine. Pursue it. They finally made the right person famous to it. And then the other day when he got back from his trip in Houston, he gave me a call and we talked for like 40 minutes or so, and he just told me about all the stuff he did there. And about the fact that he was like finally going to announce that he was leaving his job. And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. That's so good. He's going to help so many more people. One of the things I told him toward the beginning of our friendship was, if it's not you, who? Which is something that one of my mentors told me. Chris Terrell, in the very beginning, he had told me, if you don't do this, who's going to do it? We need your voice. And it was something that changed my perspective on things. I'm like, well, yeah, if it's not me, it's going to be one of the scammers. It's going to be one of the shitty people that are just trying to sell supplements and all that bullshit. So I may as well get my voice out there. I may as well do things to fill this space with content that I want to see, not content that I hate. Do I recommend intuitive eating for weight loss? First of all, hello back to you. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you're still here. Do I recommend intuitive eating for weight loss? Intuitive eating is the greatest thing ever. That all being said, intuitive eating is not a switch. It's not just like, I'm going to start intuitively eating now. Because back in the day, I intuitively ate 2 pints of Ben & Jerry's a night. I would intuitively eat McDonald's 3 times a day. My intuitive eating was broken. I had not considered my hunger signals. Speaking of Chris, am I going to Chicago? Maybe. Maybe. We're going to see. If I can make it work with my schedule, it might be a surprise appearance, but maybe. We're going to see. I would love to, so hopefully I get to, but we'll see. But yeah, Chris Terrell told me the same thing. If it's not me, who's it going to be? I have to commit to it, or it's otherwise I'm just going to be kind of doing it half-assed, and I can't put the amount of time into it that I want to. It's the same reason that Chris does what he does. He's like, I have to do this full time, or I can't deliver the value that I'd like to deliver, that the people deserve to have. Counting his fucking followers, quite the dude. Yeah, he's as unhinged as his content is. He's the sweetest fella. He's so great. As a person, so I hope that he's. I know he shows it more on his live streams, so definitely try to catch his live streams. But he's a good guy, really good guy. The Guild is thankful for you, and it would be an honor to meet you. Well, man, that's just huge praise coming from a group of people that I respect so tremendously. And I suppose that means that you were in the group lessons that I taught there this month. And I thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it tremendously. Getting to take over while Chris was gone was like when he called me and he's like, "Hey, I'm going on vacation. I've never handed the keys over to someone else before. Do you want to do the meetings?" I'm like, "Oh, okay." Willy Wonka, hand the chocolate factory over, certainly. So it was just an incredible opportunity. So you can talk about whatever you want. You can teach lessons, do the hot seat coaching, whatever you want to do. So, I tried to put my spin on it to make it a little more interesting, and I hope that I was able to keep everybody's attention. Thank you. I've lost about 65 pounds with calorie tracking, and I've been recently discovered intuitive eating. I want to break free from restriction, which is why I asked. Well, if you're already in a position where you're paying attention to your hunger signals, and that's something that you're mindful of, you're paying more attention really to satiety than you are to, say the amount of calories in something, because honestly, the amount of calories doesn't mean anything to our monkey brains, then, intuitive eating just starts to form on its own. What I would do right now, especially if you're tracking your calories at the moment, is see if you can intuitively make a meal. How much food reliably makes me full? I started using my food scale to track my satiety rather than my calories. I'm like, this is the amount of food that I like to eat. And that was a game changer for me. When it stopped becoming about accountability and more about fulfillment, it was such an easier journey. So that's going to be one of my... Hey, Morgan, what's going on? One of my first friends in the strange weight loss space that we're all in. Morgan lost 200 pounds. It's an absolute beast. I miss you too. I'm so glad you're here. In the bowl. Is Bowl of Kindness still on the table? I mentioned it. I mentioned it to Scotty. Maybe since he'll be in my hometown here, I'll bring my guitar and we'll do a Bowl of Sadness song. Or Bowl of Kindness, not Bowl of Sadness. That's going to be our sad cover, the emotional cover band. Fuck V-Shred. Fuck V-Shred, everybody. If you guys don't know who V-Shred is, don't. Don't look into it. If I wasn't such a touch-and-go wrestling fan or a meme lord, I wouldn't say that. Thank you for always saying kind words about me. I'm getting my life insurance license. Oh, that's hard. I did that myself in Jersey, or tried my best, but that fell off real quick. So it's a rough test. If you're taking your state exam, you're an absolute beast, and dedicated as always. I'm proud of you, bud. I'm super proud of you. Because also you're taking your employment into your own hands there. You get to run your own schedule at that point. That's one of the reasons that it called to me, but I just wasn't in for all the paperwork and all the knowledge I needed. So that's awesome. You're up to 10, but 7 is muscle. Of what? What are these numbers? Are they like percentages? I think I might have missed some context there, so fill me in, please. Tamboy Advance. Oh, I love that name. Hi, Mike. Glad I finally get to watch your live streams. Well, I'm glad you're finally here. Fantastic. If anyone deserves a mic in front of them, it's people like you and Scotty. It's one thing to buy a microphone. It's another thing to earn it. A lot of people have microphones who maybe shouldn't, and I would much rather other people tell me that I deserve it than to tell you that I deserve it. Yeah, I said Bowl of Sadness by accident. We're going to have 2 bands here. We're going to have Bowl of Kindness and Bowl of Sadness. The Bowl of Kindness songs are going to be more upbeat, more fun, like party vibes, and then the Bowl of Sadness songs are going to be much more emotional. Much, much more emotional. You remember the Bowl of Kindness. That's so crazy that we've got people from the Scotty raids in here. Every time he raids me, I get like another 20 people that come follow me here. And I'm grateful for him. I'm grateful for you because I've got some new friends here, and it's great that we've got crossover in our fan bases because it means that we're both doing something right if we're getting all the cool people over here. Bowl of Sadness is the EP with a bowl of coffee on the cover. You're sad because you ran out of mugs. That's good. Oh, did I freeze? Can you hear me? Hold on a second. I can fix it. It's not Twitch. It's my webcam. I can fix it. If you guys can hear me, then at least we've got that. Deactivate. Am I gonna have to? Okay. No, we're good. We're good. We are so back. I don't know why that happens. All right, the voice was good. Fantastic. Yeah, that was definitely my webcam. It wasn't my Twitch. Letter 20 said, oh, hold on a second. Morgan, how do you know about Christmas tree on the bed? How are you aware of Christmas tree on the bed, Morgan? Not that it's like, there's a dark underbelly past to uncover. I'm just surprised. Wait, Adam, dual PC, do you mean like two desktop towers or two screens? Because I've got the two screens. Up to 10 pounds, but 7 pounds is much. Oh, yeah, well, that's fine. I mean, I technically haven't lost 110 pounds either. I'm down 90 pounds now because I've put on healthy mass, and it's taken me 2 solid years of hard work to get there. I'm sure some of it's a little bit of heft, too. But, yeah, I don't know how much muscle. I've never gotten a DEXA scan. Letter 20 says, you said something about figuring out what amount of food you'd need to feel satiated. Do you find that amount to be fairly consistent, or does it change, and if so, by how much? It tends to change. How do you know about Christmas tree on the bed? How many people know about Christmas tree on the bed? This is the... Anyway, is it fairly consistent, or does it change, and if so, by how much? It tends to change by how active I am. If I'm taking more steps that day, if I'm more active, I tend to be a little bit more hungry. So it doesn't terrify me all that much because, like, I know how much food makes me full. At this point, I've studied my hunger signals so deeply that it's like, I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to eat a little bit more. Maybe I just need an extra snack. Like, I can feel how hungry I am, and I know how much food I want. That's one of the things I am most proud of. That all being said, I know you not by gender, but by name. So if you are, someone with a uterus and a, reproductive system in that regard, that may change week by week. And that all being said, allot yourself some extra calories that period of time because your body does need them. It's not like I'm just having irrational cravings. Your body actually needs more calories in those periods of time. You'll never hear that from the 25-year-old gym bros, though. That's for sure. Enough for me to dress up like a Christmas tree for a thirst trap. The only thirst trap I've ever made was completely by accident, which some of you might remember. I took a video. The point was to try to make the most unattractive video I could possibly make because, like, I'm the sexual equivalent of unflavored oatmeal. So I'm like, well, I can only go down from here, and I filmed a video for from here, from down up. So it like you could just see my worst angle possible, and I was letting my stomach hang over my belt. And the idea was like, hey, I'm not going to show you the before and after of a normal human body. Like, I just feel like it's a covert thirst trap anytime somebody genetically perfect is like, oops, I'm bending over, and here's my skin rolls, because when I bend over, people have skin. And then they just show one where they're flexed, and I'm like, shut the fuck up, you're perfect. Okay, chill out. And this was just an attempt for you to show us a flexing photo. So I'm like, I'm going to turn that on its head, and I'm going to only show you the ugliest angle. This is as bad as I can look. And number one, I lost 1,000 followers. Correct response. Absolutely correct response. The other ones were just people making the most feral, disgusting jokes. But not disgusting, like I'm offended, but they were just making all sorts of insane sexual jokes, and the point that I was trying to make did not land in any capacity. I was like, I'm not showing you the flexed version because that's not the point of this. What's a normal human body? A normal human body is one that is not flexed, that is not, with the perfect angle, with the perfect lighting, after a pump at the gym, with editing, all that kind of shit. That's a normal human body. Someone that is not trying to present the most perfect angle of themselves after taking 100 different shots to try to get the right one. It's really just anything else. But these people, they just be like, oops, I breathed out a little bit. I'm like, shut the fuck up. You're still flexing. You are still flexing. Okay, so I'm like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm in, like, I'm sitting on a toilet, the most unattractive a person can be. I wasn't sitting on a toilet there, but it's like, that's the angle. That it's like, you look at yourself while you're sitting on the toilet. You don't want anybody seeing you in that position. So I'm like, well, that's how I'm going to film myself. Toilet ready. And you motherfuckers took it in the most disgusting way. I don't know who was here for that, who was around at the time, but if you stuck around, then it must not have offended you that much to see me at such an awful angle. One desktop handles OBS webcam, the other one is what you're capturing from. That would be useful, Adam. That certainly would be useful. It changes, speaking for women, depends on your cycle as well. Yeah, cycle is rough for the amount of food I'm craving. Yes, if you have a cycle, it's going to be different. Your progress is going to look different than mine. That's always the way it's going to be. I may be wrong, but I think your body metabolizes differently when you're at different points in your cycle. Yes, it does. Not like a huge amount where it's going to be majorly affecting your progress or anything, but yes, your metabolism is going to vary throughout the month. So it's something to be mindful of. I'm going to head out, everyone. As Mike says, be kind to yourself. Adam, I know you're not here anymore, but I'm glad you were. What a fantastic guy that is. Shout out to Chick-fil-A. Their food tastes like I'm being kind to myself when eaten responsibly. Have they finally stopped donating to the anti-gay charities? Does that happen? Because I know every couple of years they catch them, and they're like, oh, you got us. Okay, we'll stop. And then they stop donating to one charity, but then they just start donating to another shitty charity. By the way, this is an LGBTQ plus safe space. If you do not like that or agree with that, please find your way out immediately. Also, thank you for your answer to my question. And yes, I do have the uterus parts, but that part of my health is complicated, to put it shortly. It's always complicated. It's always complicated. It's never not complicated. I've never heard from anybody, yep, uterus is doing great. Everything's fine. Like, it just seems to be a flawed organ for some reason. No idea why. That's because I'm not an expert in women's health. By the way, you should not believe any 25-year-old guy on the internet. I'm not 25, but like there's a lot of 25-year-old gym bros on the internet that claim to be women's fitness experts. Don't listen to them. Your weight loss problem is not the only thing they wouldn't be able to find on your body. I can guarantee you that. Jamie Davis is here. Hey there, welcome. Glad to see you. Want to make everyone seem human and not perfect? Think of this. Literally everyone shits. Everyone. We're all vulnerable to the fact that we have bowel movements. I think regularly about the fact that the Queen has had diarrhea. In her lifetime, the Queen had like some nasty diarrhea. Several times. She was, 95 when she went? There's not a shot that she spent 95 straight years not having diarrhea. On the throne. Maybe not on the specific throne, but like, there was some messy moments. Jamie Davis, I'm glad you're here. Saw that video, crazy comments. The point of that video flew extremely over their heads. But Bailey, you got it though. That's what's important. So long as you understood it, that's all that matters. Because if one person got it, that's all I need. That's all I need. Did it have to be explained? Was that like, to anyone who did see that video, did you not get it until I explained it? Because I was like, I assumed, hey, this is the worst angle I could take a video from. I did not think for a moment that people would make sexual jokes about it. Because I'm not the target of any sexual comments. Ever. Like, I'm sort of an anomaly in the weight loss space in the sense that, like, my comments are not a fucking dog pound like all of my contemporaries, where you go to any of their comment sections and there's just people thirsting over them. I am more of an unsexual Mr. Rogers character that no one finds attractive in any capacity, and it's great. It's fine, because then I just get to get my message across, and I don't have to worry about anything else. But like, for that to be the debut of people finding me attractive on the internet was, even in a joking capacity, was sort of shocking to me, for sure. Uh, you all still shitting? I engineered a portal to the bottom of my small intestine to dispose of waste in a pocket dimension. Guess I'm just built different. Yeah, pooping is so 2023. Everybody knows that 2024 is supposed to be, a no poop sort of time. Oh, you got it without explanation. Awesome. What letter 20? What do I call you? What is your name? If you feel comfortable giving a name, so I have to call you letter 20. But I was definitely laughing because I knew the wave of comments were coming, and I was a bit surprised at how blindsided you were. How did any? I was not socialized in a society where I was sexualized in any capacity. So yes, it was a complete shock to me. But I really think it was all jokes for the most part. You thought it was funny, CJ. Thank you. At least you thought it was funny. That's all that matters. Crapping in this economy, yeah, you're gonna have to pay for toilet paper and water and all that kind of stuff. Bad time. But I do. Does anybody have a bidet? Is that a part of anybody's life here? A bidet. I've been thinking, like, why don't I get one? Why don't I give it a shot? Gonna hit the hay, bestie. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for being here. Did a late night gym session on Beat. So happy I caught your stream again today. So this is the most important part. One of the underrated parts of weight loss is sleep. So follow Cece's advice and get to sleep if that's something you need to be doing right now. Dorms don't have bidets. Well, there's ones that you can get on like Amazon where it's not built into the toilet. It's removable. You install it onto the seat itself. So that is a possibility. Mr. Rogers just asked if we have a bidet. I think Mr. Rogers would be appreciative of a clean bum. That's for sure. It's the spicy brain. That's why the world is different for us. We laugh of sexual jokes, but never think of ourselves like that because we're just goofy. Well, here's the thing. No one's ever thought of, like, for the most part, it's, aside from, my current relationship, like, no one has ever thought of me that way. So it was like, that's not a part of my internal lexicon. I don't think of things that way. I also, don't impose my sexuality onto anyone because that would be, unbecoming. If you get a bidet, we need to know how this changes your life. I will invest accordingly. Maybe that'll be the first product that I push here. It won't be a protein powder or a supplement or anything. It'll be like, hey, Mike needs a plan bidet. You can't. You can lose all sorts of weight with a bidet. The weight of toilet paper in your life. Not fat, mind you. I'm not going to start selling garbage to you guys. Sleeping is a luxury I don't get to enjoy. I'm a first responder, always on high alert, and every day I wake up with a jolt. Okay, yeah, so even the days that you have off, you're still like, well, I got to sleep lightly because, what if I'm in the office and there's a call, somebody needs me. Yeah, you've chosen a profession where sleep is honestly like the most necessary thing that you could possibly have. We need you rested desperately. Mike needs a bidet. Terrible. Absolutely awful. My sensory kid needed a bidet, and we're never going back. Oh, interesting. So the sensory thing that your kid had, I myself am on the autism spectrum, so the bidet feels kind of like any one of them that I've used. At first, I don't like the feeling of it. I think that I would get used to it eventually, but like at first, I do not like the feeling. I'm suddenly wet and I don't like it. So, not a big fan. Mike's OnlyFans where he shows the before and after of bidet ownership. No, good Lord, no. Could you imagine? That's the kind of you sign up for an OnlyFans of Mike needs a plan, and it's just like, hey, here's my unwashed asshole, and here's comparatively, I've now used the bidet, and it's completely different now. All is different. By the way, in case anybody's watching on Instagram, please, or not Instagram, if anyone's watching on TikTok, I cannot see the comments on TikTok. I would love for you to come over to Instagram or Twitch, preferably Twitch. So head on over because I'd love to see you. It's a beautiful bidet in the neighborhood. Get out of here. Get out of here right now. That might be the thing that ends the stream. How can we beat that? That's insane. If anybody can come up with more poop flavored Mr. Rogers puns to end out the stream, I don't think you're gonna beat It's a Beautiful Bidet in the Neighborhood though. It's such a good feeling to clean your behind. It's such a happy feeling. Oh, terrible. He hated the feeling of paper, and we got the clip-on kind, and he was instantly washroom independent. Oh, that's awesome. Especially, with someone that before, I don't know what, level of independency is there, but that changes the game completely to give him some level of independence where he can handle things on his own. I'm still stuck on the Mr. Rogers bidet stuff. How did we get here? How did we arrive at such a ridiculous conclusion? I'll just talk about it here because we're winding down. I'm looking into trying to get any of the Mr. Rogers Neighborhood actors to come on the Mike Needs a Plan podcast. Many of them are pretty accessible. I would love to get David Newell, who has played Mr. McFeely, or Clarence Clemens, who played Officer Clemens. I would love to get either of them. But I'm open to really talking to just about anybody because I know that they would have a wonderful perspective on kindness and its importance in media and everything. So that's on the itinerary, trying to get somebody who touched the set of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood onto the show to talk to them. If anyone is interested in hearing non-Mr. Rogers episodes of the podcast, you can go to it's Mike Needs a Plan on Spotify, on Apple. I think it's on Audible. Can you get the King Friday? No, I don't know if I can get King Friday, considering that he was voiced by King Friday the 13th, because he was voiced by Mr. Rogers, Fred Rogers, and he's unfortunately no longer with us. So I think that episode would probably not be terribly interesting. King Bidet the 13th. How old am I? I'm 30. I'll be 31 here at the end of the year. Everybody stay hydrated. If you've not had water, when I know that a bunch of you haven't, make sure you get some hydration in today. I'm going to pop on out of here. If you are not on the Discord, you need to be. The Discord can be found at the link on my Instagram page or my Linktree, linktree.com/Mike Pridgeon. I think that's what it is, but you can just go to my Instagram. It's much easier over there. You can meet me and 2,200 of your new closest friends who are all on the same journey that you are, different journeys than you are, but all trying to accomplish the same thing, and that is to have a better life, have a better experience here on this planet that we all share. So if you would love to join the Discord neighborhood and be my neighbor, I would love to have you. So good night, Nikki. Good night. The unattractive redhead, first off, which we've renamed you the attractive redhead, so you better change that. Bailey, good night. CJ, good night. Kate, fantastic. I haven't seen you. I guess you just popped in here, but I'm glad that you're here. Good night to you. Eliana, good night to you. You're too lazy to fill up your Stanley Cup. Just go do it. You get your steps in. I'll be proud of you for it. Go ahead and make that happen. Oh, you got to exit. You live with your family. Well, you might have to just wait a little bit. Miriam, get back on the Discord. You're an old timer for me, so I'd love to have you back. Good night, everybody. Mahogany, good night to you. Jamie Davis, good night to you. If you're not in the Discord yet, you need to be. Everybody join the Discord because you'll get to hang out with all of us. Love to see you there. Be kind to yourself.